total to your being. Turn on, it's a pleasure device. Game with me, it's the ultimate spice.
Hey everyone, this is Kat, and today we're doing a collab on domestic violence where we will share our stories and or experiences, or even just our thoughts, you know, whatever someone might want to share. So feel free to check out the playlist, which will be linked in the description below, and at the end of my video I will post the domestic violence hotline number. Keep in mind that that number that I have is for the United States, so if you were in a different country, that number may vary and may differ. And I do have friends in other countries, so if you need the number for the country that you're at, let me know what country you are in, and I can see about getting that number for you. Alright, so in the past I've made videos where I've discussed the domestic violence while I was with my first husband, but there's like a lot to the story in just a short three or 4 months that I was with him. There was emotional, verbal, and physical abuse, and I'm not exactly sure what forcing me to break the law would fall under, but I'm sure that falls under some form of abuse as well. So, alright, I've not touched on all the subjects that I went through with him, but he was a narcissist. He still is, and I know for a fact that he probably, you know, still pays close attention to what I'm doing, but he doesn't bother me anymore. I am well aware that these videos may cross his... He might end up seeing them, and I've expected that when I do the videos, you know, I half expect to come here one day and find a comment from him that is nasty in nature, because I am bringing the horrors of living with that man to light. Today, I'm free. I've actually been free from him for 15 years. 15 years ago is when I left him. 10 years ago, almost 11, is when my divorce was finalized. And so I've been free from him for a long time, but today this video will document the horrors of the emotional and verbal abuse in hopes that my story will potentially help someone. I will leave out the physical and explanations of that. I do have another video where I discuss the hang on, I'm writing down something real quick. I do have another video where I discuss the physical abuse from him. So if you want me to, I can link the other videos or add them into this playlist as well. Okay. So let's start from the beginning. I was on a chat line that at the time it was known as Quest Personals. I met a guy, he told me he was a lawyer and he owned his own law firm. I went ahead and contacted him. We made arrangements to meet in person. I found out that he wasn't really a lawyer, but instead he was diabetic and on disability and worked a couple days a week at a gas station. So he told me he lied on Quest Personals because no one wants to meet him once they find out he is on disability. This wouldn't have mattered to me. I was looking for love. It didn't have to be from a lawyer. It could have been from a homeless man for all I cared. But me and him started dating. He actually accused me of cheating on him with my friend Richie because me and Richie were real close. I wasn't allowed to hug Richie. I wasn't allowed to hang out with him. He alienated me from my best friend, Mandy. I wasn't allowed to talk to her anymore. She actually tried to warn me about him. it was soon after that he decided I couldn't talk to her anymore. Well, one night after he dropped me off at home, he tried to call the house. My parents took the phone off the hook because he would call at all hours of the night. This was only the start of the red flags. When I didn't answer, he drove 45 minutes to my house after stealing his mom's car, burst into the door to my bedroom, and told me I was going with him for the night. Apparently, he thought I was cheating on him. I was sound asleep in my bed because I had to get up in the morning to replace my military ID. My dad was taking me to get it redone in the morning since I was under 21 and could still use base privileges. I was 19. My brother tried to stop him from taking me, but I ended up going with him. I had never seen him that mad. All the way to his house, he told me how stupid I was. This was the first time he ever got verbal and emotional with me, and we weren't even married then. 2 weeks later, I ended up marrying him. And I think I married him because I was afraid of what he might do if I didn't. I was so scared of him, but I also thought I loved him. I could have. I don't know. I do know that I don't love him anymore if I ever did. That's gone. He started threatening me, telling me he would kill me if I didn't do things such as steal my mother's checks. He even threatened my sister's life over that, and I was 19, and I'm 11 years older than my sister, so big sis mode kicked in. I had to protect my sister. If we were at the store and I would make him mad, he would storm off, drive off, and leave me crying in the parking lot. I would head back inside the store to call for a ride, and he would show back up and tell me to stop my crying and get in the fucking car. His exact words. I even had people from the store in the parking lot ask me if I was okay when they would see him just drive off and leave me there. All I could do was nod and say, I'll be okay. When we would go to the ER because he would let his blood sugar get so low, he would have to go. They heard him yelling at me. Things they probably shouldn't be saying. And when I would get, like, when I got him water and it was warm, it would piss him off because it wasn't cold. The hospital somehow knew what was going on, but I was afraid of saying something. Before anyone says anything, legally, at least in my state, unless the hospital physically saw him actually hit me or actually hit me or threaten me in front of them, there's nothing they could do about it. They have to wait for me because sometimes saying something, if someone else sees it and they say it, it could actually put your life more in danger. I think I said that backwards. Y'all know what I mean. So the nurses and receptionists there would always tell me they can help me if I just tell them what is going on. But anytime I got the courage to say what was happening, he got in the way. He would put me down all the time, telling me I was a no good for nothing stupid whore, or he would call me a cunt. He would call me the dumbest girl ever. I started believing it. He even forced me to watch porn with him, and then he would make comments like, why can't you look like that model there? He would say, why can't you be more like that when we are having sex? I couldn't even watch, my favorite TV show is Angel. I couldn't even watch it because there was a cute actor in it. I couldn't listen to NSYNC because they were cuter than him. I was a smoker. He forced me to quit smoking. He did not know that his mom would hide a few cigarettes for me. We lived with her, so when he would go outside to do something, she would let me take a couple puffs of her cigarette before he came back. His mom even tried to get me to leave him. She would offer to pay for an annulment or divorce if I needed it. I resisted because he resisted. I was scared of him. I felt so bad about myself. He constantly made comments about my teeth looking ugly. They were yellowish, but I didn't realize I had cavities still from when I was 16. So for 3 years I had cavities. And my teeth were in bad conditions. He constantly talked about how my breast size was too small. At this time, I had about a C cup, so I don't think they were too small. But back then, I felt like they were. He never failed to make comments about how I looked ugly with my big feet, small breasts, yellow teeth. I was too skinny. I was not allowed to go anywhere without him. When he got up in the morning, I had to wake up regardless of the time. When he went to bed, I had to go to bed. He threatened to lock me up in the attic if I wouldn't go to bed when he did. So I complied. He dictated what music I was going to listen to, what I was going to wear. He even picked out my outfits for me on a day-to-day basis. He would help me clean, but it was only to make sure I cleaned exactly how he wanted. He would dictate what I was going to eat, when I was going to eat. He even controlled all the money. He had me apply for jobs, and I got a job offer as a manager at McDonald's. He forced me to turn it down because he didn't want his disability check or food stamps to get cut. He controlled every aspect, every move, straight down to my life. He literally controlled my interest. If he said I was not allowed to like something, I had to hate it. If I did anything like drop a pin needle on the floor, it would set him off. I was wrong. Everything had to be done perfect for him. But nothing was right in his eyes. He would find something wrong with everything I did. It got to where I could not even check the mail without his eyes on me. I often fantasized about running to the neighbor's house and asking to call the cops. I started having to ask permission even to go to the car to get something I left in the car. Though sometimes he didn't seem that bad. He might have belittled me, but he never put down my dreams. I wanted to be a singer, and he often talked about how he would get a band together and I could be the singer. He would promise to buy me my dream car and blame my dad for talking him out of buying me the Camaro when he was going to buy it for me. It seemed I was never right. I could never be right. He was always the right one. If I told him he was hitting me, his response would have been, "No, I'm only doing what your mom said I needed to do." Oftentimes I would hear, "Do you think I like treating you this way? If you would only do what I ask you to do or tell you to do and stop lying to me, I wouldn't treat you this way." He would constantly make remarks about how my teeth needed to be whiter, how I was a liar, how I was stupid. He constantly accused me of cheating on him while we were together, after I left him, and even when I remarried after our divorce was final. He sent my husband a message saying, "I was married to your wife, and she lied and cheated on me. I'm not giving his name for security and safety purposes." He says, "I never did her wrong or beat her up like she claims. She's a sick person. She willingly..." Because of this statement here, yeah, okay, she willingly fucked her dad and allowed him to rape her. He sent that to my husband. She's a bad mother, and she calls me behind your back, claims she loves me. How do you want a fucking wife like that? He would constantly tell me my mother told him to beat me, that I needed to be kept in line. I know this was not true. He blamed me. He even blamed it on his past, seeing his father beat his mother. Many times he would apologize to me and tell me he will stop treating me like this. He never did. I know now that was just another lie, possibly to keep me from leaving or calling the cops on him. It was my fault about everything that went wrong. The law caught up with him on a charge again that was something that happened before we were married. I begged him to go to court instead of running. He accused me of making an attempt to leave him. When he got put in jail, he blamed me, even though I had not pressed any charges on him. Even from jail, he would call me stupid, a liar, a cheater, a whore. He called me all sorts of names from jail. Rewind back to before jail, there were times he would actually overdose on insulin, telling me he would kill himself if I ever left him. Do you know how many times I thought of just leaving him there to die on that overdose? And then calling the cops about him dying on an overdose, but I felt like I could not be his murderer, which is how I felt. So often, I remember I would start shoving chocolate bars down his throat and take him to the ER to have them fixed once his OD symptoms started showing. I freaked out because I was scared myself. Lucky for me, he did teach me how to save his life if he ever took too much insulin or went into insulin shock. I didn't want to have his death on my hands. The reason why I say lucky for me is because if I'm at work or in the same room with a diabetic and they take too much insulin by accident, I know how to save them. You know, so I do know how to save a diabetic if I ever need to in the future. I hope I don't, and you know, I'll pray that I don't ever have to. But I could have cared less if someone else murdered him, but I didn't want it to be at my hands. Eventually, he determined when I would take my showers. One night, I had to go to the bathroom, and I got up to use it. He forced me to use the cat's litter box, telling me I wasn't allowed to leave the room, and if I couldn't hold it till morning, I had to use the litter box as long as I don't poop in it. I felt dirty sitting in that litter box. When I took a shower, he had to stay in the bathroom while I showered to make sure I didn't sneak a phone call to anyone. This is the end of my story on the emotional and verbal abuse that I acquired at his hands, or yeah. So keep an eye out for not keep an eye out. I'm sorry. I have other videos on the physical abuse that I went through while with him. And make sure that you take a look at the other videos in here. And thank you for hearing my story. I'm sorry it took so long. But like I said, there's so much more to my story. If you or anyone you know are in an emotionally or verbally abusive relationship, remember, it will only get worse. And you should get out while you still can. If you like this video, please feel free to hit like, subscribe, share. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day.
Is it immature?